Hello, students. Welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. I am your teacher, Mr. Stanley Ombogo. Dear students, we have been looking at the, uh, analysis of Ninema, that is by Vrenika Patha. And so far, what we have done is that we have been able to look at the synopsis, or rather the plot analysis of the story. We've also been able to look at some of the major issues that are raised in the story, and again, we've also been able to identify some of the character portrayal of the characters that we have in the story, beginning with the main character, that is Ninema herself, to Mr. Chindran, to Mrs. Sin, and the lady Okas, not forgetting the attacker or the assailant, that is the man who attacks Ninema on her way home. So, dear students, in this episode, I want us to look at the language and style. That is by looking at the stylistic devices that we have in the story Ninema. That is once again by Vrenika Patha. So, these are some of the stylistic devices that have been used in this story, dear students. At the first place, we have imagery. So remember that this is a literary device used in many literary works, like poetry, novels, and other writing that employs the use of vivid description that appeals to the reader's senses, creating an image or idea mentally. So through language, imagery does not only paint a picture but aims to portray the sensational and emotional experience within the story. So there is a use of vivid description, that is a language that is vividly descriptive to create some mental pictures or sensory experiences for the reader. So for example, in the story Ninema, there is an instance of vivid description. That is when we are told that that is the description of Ninema's thin chiffon sari. So we are told that her thin chiffon sari draping effortlessly around her perfect body. So the description of her hips swaying as she balances a basket on her head, and the mention of the heavy enamel flask of tea. So if you look at the language that the writer uses, that is to describe the sari that she wears, and again the hips. That is how Ninema's hips sway as she balances a basket on her head. Create some image in the minds or the heads of the readers. So it is like they can create that visual representation or image of whatever is being described. So on to the next, that is style that we have again under imagery is personification. So remember this, when an idea or animal is given human characteristics. So this figure of speech, just like we've earlier on said, involves attributing human qualities or characteristics to non-human objects or concepts. So an example in the story, that is an example of personification as a style used in the story, that is the description of Ninema's presence as displacing the space around her and filling it with gravity. So that is what that is Ninema's presence does whenever she's around. So her presence is given the characteristics of human qualities. So again, we have another style, that is metaphor. So this is a comparison between two things that are unlike. So it involves making an implicit comparison between two unlike things. That is by implying that one is the other. So in the story, an example of metaphor is the comparison of Ninema's breasts, that is to high, firm breasts, which cause men to stop and stare. So another style that we can also talk about in this story is simile. So it is also a comparison. But now, when talking about simile, we do comparison of two things using the words like or as. So in the story, we are told that the comparison of that is Nineveh's bun to an uncompromising bun at the nape of her neck. So looking at the use of like and as, that uh, gives you a comparison of two things that are not maybe that are not alike. So that is by using the words like or as. There is also symbolism, dear students. So symbolism is a literary device that uses symbols. So this is the use of symbols to represent or suggest ideas or qualities. So an example of symbolism in the passage is the mention of Ninema's champals or sandals, which are described as being reserved for walking to the market and back home. So the champal symbolizes a hardworking and practical nature. And again, the champal also symbolizes that is poverty, also symbolizes poverty, or maybe the low income that that Ninema earns. So the next style that we can also talk about is that is hyperbole, also known as exaggeration. So it's a figure of speech that is that has an intentional exaggeration to create some comic effect, or sometimes it is used to lay or create emphasis. So we are told that in the passage there is an exaggeration or overstatement where we are told that um, Ninema can add faster. You could say the word hub. I mean, Ninema could, that is, add faster than you could say the word hub. So it means that when doing our calculations, that is, when trying to get the total summation of maybe some of the things she has been able to sell, we are told that she is sharp. That before saying the word hub, she is already done with her addition. So that is an exaggeration of a statement. So there is also onomatopoeia. So we are told that this is uh, one way a poet or a writer can create sounds. That is in a poem. Remember, onomatopoeia is the use of language or words that describe a sound. It is not like idiophones. So it is a word that looks like the sound that it makes, and we can almost hear those sounds as we read. So there is use of words that mimic or imitate the sounds as they describe. That is an example in the passage is the use of word sigh to describe Ninema's sighs of acceptance. So the word sigh there is an example of onomatopoeia. So on to the next style, we have irony. So remember, it is a literary device where a situation I mean that talks about the opposite of what someone means or intends. So in the passage or in the story, an example of irony is the mention of Mrs. Singh, who is described as a rich old woman, always haggled over prices, suggesting that she is not as wealthy as she appears. Remember, we are told that she is a rich old woman, but when it comes to buying some items or herbs from Ninema, she haggles over prices, just like someone who is not who is not rich enough. So we also have allusion in the story. So remember, these in direct reference to a person, event, or thing, or maybe to a part of another text. So in that is in the story Ninema, we are told that Mr. Chindran, who is described, so remember, is described as a rich lawyer from Ibrahim caste, referencing the caste system in India. So there is that direct reference that is drawn from the Indian caste system to help us describe that is Mr. Chindran and how he is of high caste in the society. Remember, in a society, we talked about the high caste and the low caste when it comes to that is societal barriers or social discrimination. So on to the next style, that is foreshadow. So we are told, remember, foreshadow is a style that is used, it gives hints or clues to suggest events that will occur later in the story. So in the story, uh, there is the mention of Mr. Chindran wondering how he would manage to do his herb rounds. So once his mother arranges a marriage for him, we suggesting that he will no longer be able to visit Ninema as frequently. So Mr. Chindran thinks of moments that is in future when his mother, sorry, will have arranged or shall have arranged a marriage for him. So it means that he will not be visiting Ninema frequently to come for the herbs, as he will now be having a wife, maybe to take care of such duties. So that marks the end, dear students, of language and style that we have in Ninema. Thanks for watching. Until next time.